Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 11 4 key game picks. Before we talk about Week number 11, thoughts from Week 10 and kind of a really big week last week. And what I mean by big week last week, well, there's no more undefeated teams in the NFL. The 49ers picked up their first loss last week against the Seattle Seahawks in a game that really was a good one on Monday night. Boy, the game went back and forth. I mean, in all honesty, the game really, you could ask for many different sides of many football fans here and how this game really did play out. But I'll be honest here, the game actually was good, but it seemed like that both the 49ers and the Seahawks didn't seem all that prepared. I mean, it looked like the 49ers were going to dominate the Seahawks in the first half, but then the Seattle Seahawks really turned it on in the second half. In the game that went back and forth in terms of scoring and turnovers, and then Seattle ultimately winning it in overtime in San Francisco. Really, I have to say that what Russell Wilson did, I personally think that he solidified himself right now. I would, even though the season's not over yet, I would throw my vote in right now. He's really the MVP of the NFL season. Now, Lamar Jackson can make another case that he should be the MVP of the NFL this year. I really think it's between either Wilson or Lamar Jackson, because both these players are playing at a level that really, it's really tough to say. Especially going to fact, well, look, I would really give it more to Russell Wilson because he's got more of the experience. He's been in the league longer than Lamar Jackson has. But you could say right now Lamar Jackson is making his case as well for NFL MVP. So it's tough to say right now who will get it, but in all honesty right now, I would say that Russell Wilson and what he did against the 49ers last Monday was really spectacular. And I really think that he should be the MVP, but that's just my opinion. We won't know who's going to be the MVP until the end of the regular season. So, yep, no more undefeated teams left in the NFL, so you know what that means? That means that the living players of the 1972 Dolphins can crack open the champagne one more time as their perfect season is unfortunately safe again. Not much to talk about what happened in week number 10 other than the 49ers losing. Probably a bigger shocker is the fact that the Raiders are making a move. The fact that with the Chiefs losing to the Titans, the Raiders now are just one game back of the Kansas City Chiefs. And that is huge right now in the AFC West, even though despite the fact that really the Chiefs having Patrick Mahomes back really didn't make much of a difference. It really didn't. So really right now, the AFC West is getting tighter and tighter. And it's going to be tough to say down the stretch how the rest of this division played out. Right now, for the next few weeks, the Raiders have the advantage right now because they play very bad under 500 teams in their schedule, while the Chiefs have the Chargers and other tough games coming up very soon. So it's possible that the Raiders could overtake the Chiefs in the AFC West. But really right now, it's tough to say. I still think the Chiefs will win the division, but they didn't expect that the Raiders would make it much more difficult for them to win that division. And other things I would consider right now after what we saw from week 10, the way the Rams played against the Steelers, I think the Rams pretty much are in danger, and it looks like they're going to miss the playoffs here. And going back to the Raiders, the Chargers kind of screwed themselves now. They're 2-6 right now, and pretty much now they're 4-6 right now, I should say. They're pretty much out of it. I don't see them getting much far now the way things are going for this football team. I think they're finished as well. And the Giants, I think, now took over as an embarrassment now than what we saw with the Jets. Anyways, I would get into more, but I need to get into my picks here, so let's talk about week number 11, shall we? Let's begin with key game number 1. And now, the first two key games here I'm going to talk about is going to relate to the AFC South. So bear with me on this here. The first key game I'm going to talk about here is the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Texans are only one game ahead of the Colts. And really right now, and it could have come at a bad time right now when you're playing a very hot Baltimore Ravens team. And on the tip of things here, this is a matchup I actually can't wait to see. Watson and Lamar Jackson. These are two NFL QBs I think is going to really match up and bring so much hype for years to come between these two quarterbacks. Now, the Texans didn't play last week. They were on a bye. So going back to week 9 for the Texans against the Jaguars, Watson went 22 of 28, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And Lamar Jackson in basically just destroying the Bengals last week, 17 of 23, 163 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Really, the defense really was the difference last week against the Bengals. The Ravens are a 4-point favorite in this one, and I really think that number should be lower. I think it should be 3 points, something like that. Really tough to say right now. You would say that the Ravens have the better offense. Texans defense is pretty banged up. They're missing their defensive leader right now as J.J. Watt's out for the season. And really right now, I would say that this is kind of sort of an easy pick here, but I'm going to take this with a grain of salt here because I don't know if the Texans offense can really match up, can really give Baltimore's defense some problems here because remember, Watson and Jackson are both mobile. So really it comes down to whose defense plays better in this game. But I'm picking the Ravens here because they are continuing to roll here. This will be a tough game for them. I think this game will be close and it should be a good one between these two teams, but I like the Ravens here. In this one here, Ravens over the Texans. Now, what I was talking about in terms of the first two key game picks that I'm going to talk about here is relating to the AFC South because the next key game pick I'm going to talk about is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts here. Now, the Colts are a 3-point favorite in this one here, but let's keep in mind of a couple things here between these two teams right now. Jacksonville, first of all. Now, I'm not going to give any quarterback stats for both these two teams because really right now the question is going to remain here for the Jaguars. Does Minshew start or will Nick Foles be back at helm for the Jaguars here? And really from what I've been hearing right now as of the time of this video that Nick Foles I think is going to start in this game. So really right now I would keep up to date with the NFL news to see if this is 100% accurate here. Keep in mind, from what I'm reading right now, it looks like Foles is going to start for this game, and Minshew looks like he may sit. So really right now, it's really tough to say what comes out of this here. Now, going into the Colts side here. Now, there's some word from what I'm hearing here that Jacob Brissett might start in this game. Now, keep in mind, Ryan Hoyer had to start last week because Brissett got hurt in the game against the Dolphins. Now, Indianapolis is a 3-point favorite in this one. We're really right now, I don't even know if we should be making any number odds for this game here because really, as of the time of this video, I don't know who's going to start for each team. Now, I look at it this way. This is a must-win game for both these two teams to really try to keep pace. Because remember, the AFC South, if you look at the standings right now, everybody's still in it, including the Titans as well. That division is not that great this year. Keep in mind, almost everybody except the Jaguars, the Titans and the Colts are just 1 game back. They're just only 1 game back, and it's really, really a key game for both these two teams and who survives in this game. Now, look, the other thing about the Colts here is that what is the stats right now with their kicking game? Remember, Adam Vinatieri right now has struggled all season long, and they held tryouts to possibly replace him even before he's even had a chance to say that he's going to retire. So really right now, this brings to mind another question about Indianapolis' kicking game. Really tough to say now who wins this game here. This game is a toss-up. This really should be you pick 'em. Lines are even here, but I don't know why the odds makers have the Colts as a 3-point favorite when there's nothing I'm hearing about who's going to start a quarterback for both the Jaguars and the Colts. But I'll look at it this way here. The Jaguars look like I think will win this game, depending on how their defense plays and if both these two teams can score points here. Now, I'm going to pick the Jaguars because the Colts are having their kicking game is struggling a lot, and that is going to become a huge issue if they don't resolve this soon. I think Jacksonville wins this game because they need this game to stay alive in that AFC South, as well as the Colts do here. But I'm going to pick the Jaguars. This is not a sure pick here. I'm not 100% certain who's going to win this game on this one here, but I'm going to pick the Jaguars here because I got to make a pick here. Jaguars over the Colts. Key game number 3, going to the Monday night game. It is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers. This game is in Mexico City as part of the international games, as the games in London have ended. Now they're going to do what they were supposed to do last year between the Chiefs and the Rams, but because of field conditions at Azteca Stadium, they couldn't hold that game last year. But this time, Azteca Stadium will be ready for this one here. Now, the Chiefs are a 3.5-point favorite in this one, and I say that's just about right here. Patrick Mahomes, 36 of 50, 446 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, despite losing a tough loss to the Titans. Now, the Chargers, after getting embarrassed by the Raiders last week, Rivers went 17 of 31, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, but a big 3 interceptions here. This game might be a lot closer than people will think here because really both these two teams are struggling big time here. Nobody knows what the current health status is of Patrick Mahomes here, even though he played fairly well last week. But a loss to the Titans would really hurt them. It really hurt them in terms of standings in the AFC West. They're barely clinging on the first place here. Now the Chargers right now pretty much, they may be out of it now for a wild card spot here. I think this is more, reason why I'm talking about this game is more the Chiefs trying to stay in first place here because the Raiders have an easy opponent in the Bengals this Sunday. And the Chiefs need this game to stay out in front of the AFC West here. And I look at it this way right now. It's going to go back and forth here. I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Chiefs win this game here. This is really not a sure pick here, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs here. I think the way the Chargers have struggled really in a lot of these games, and the holdout with Melvin Gordon didn't help whatsoever, and they're also dealing with more injuries again, which I'm not surprised. So really right now, I like the Chiefs in this one here, but it's going to be a very close game here. It should be a good one in Azteca Stadium on Monday night. But I'll pick the Chiefs here. I think the Chiefs will hang on to first place here. They won't get into a tie with the Raiders here. Currently, right now, the Chiefs hold the tiebreaker because they did beat the Raiders back in week number 2. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs over the Chargers. And finally, key game number 4, it is the New England Patriots versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams coming off a bye week. Patriots are a 3.5-point favorite in this one, and I think it should be 3 points here. Now, week 9, Brady, 30 of 46, 285 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and picking up as the team picked up their first loss against the Ravens in week number 9. Philadelphia last week against the Bears, Carson Wentz, 26 of 39, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interception. I forgot. No, yeah, the Eagles had a bye week. Pardon my derpiness there. Yeah, both teams coming off a bye week. And really right now, key for a couple things here now. Philadelphia's defense really has got to have a game plan to stop Brady here. Even though despite the fact the Cowboys losing to the Vikings here helps the Eagles a lot. But they cannot help themselves if they lose to the Patriots here. The Eagles have to have a perfect game plan here. Their defense really has to come up big. And that Philadelphia Eagle crowd better be loud and better be who they are in order to give Brady hell in that game in Philadelphia here. But I gotta be reasonable here. Look, the Patriots offense is better than the Eagles. Defense-wise, Patriots are a tad better. And that is why I was saying that the Eagles better have a game plan to stop Tom Brady. They better get to him and control that running game. Otherwise, the Patriots defense may hold Carson Wentz at bay here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game in all honesty. But I'm picking the Patriots here because their offense is just a tad better than the Eagles, and their defense is just a tad better than the Eagles here. Tough for me to say this here because I really like the Eagles personally. I like the Philadelphia Eagles, but I don't think they have enough to beat the Patriots here. That is why I'm going to pick the Patriots in this game. And that's basically it. Patriots over the Eagles. All right, everybody, that wraps up my 4 key game picks for week number 11. For all of my NFL Week 11 picks, please check the description below, and I'll talk to you guys next week when I talk about my picks for week number 12. So, everybody, take care and enjoy your football weekend.